All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines, and I am here with Amanda Walsh of Astrology Hub. So many of you are probably pretty familiar with Amanda. If you're not, I highly recommend going and finding Astrology Hub on all the places, YouTube, podcasts, website, everywhere. Yeah, so Amanda has recently put out a book, and I have been talking about this book. Those of you in my community, you've probably heard me now talk about it like three, four, five, six times. But it's called Life by the Stars, and I loved it. I finished it in 2 or 3 days because I just couldn't stop. You sent me the audio version, and then I got myself the actual physical version. I listened to the audio version constantly, and like every drive, every time I was going anywhere, when I was doing the dishes, I was like, I can't stop listening to this. It's too good.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it was so compelling for me on many levels. Partly because, we're like less than a year apart in age. So there's that. Our kids are the same ages. Turned out I live in the town where you went to college and got married. And, there's a lot of these bizarre synchronous things. So there's that level of it. But on a much deeper level, it spoke to me so powerfully on a personally, but also given what's going on with the collective and given the work I do, really trying to help all of us come into the truth of who we are, because you have done that so beautifully. And in the book, Amanda, if you're not familiar with the book yet, Amanda talks about her journey, her personal journey of massive transformation through her entire, her lifetime up until now. Um, on personal levels, spiritual levels, all the things. And then throughout the book, Natasha Alter weaves in the astrology. So, yeah, it's a very multi-layered book, and there's that level of the personal narrative, but then the deep, deep, deep spiritual transformation. I think that's the part we're going to mostly focus on today. But in any case, welcome, Amanda. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for writing this book and being so genuine and vulnerable in doing that.
Martha, thank you so much. It's like it was such a labor of love. It was such a when you just know you need to do something and you don't always know exactly why.
Yeah.
It felt like one of those, where it was just like I just kept getting, you just need to write the book. You just need to write the story. You don't get to know what comes after, just write it. And so I did, and to hear how people are connecting with it is just completely magical. It's just like,
Mm.
wow, that is so affirming that when you listen to that and when you connect with people from a place of sheer authenticity, that it resonates and connects with people at a level that is hard to verbalize. And I know we've all experienced that with different things. And so to have this opportunity to write the story and for people to connect with it is, like I said, it's just magical. So thank you, Martha.
Absolutely. Yes. So, um, yeah, I heard you say in another interview you did, I was listening to earlier today, that in speaking from that really vulnerable, authentic place, I think what you said in the video or this interview was that when you've heard others speak from that place in themselves, you said, I just love them even more. Right? And I felt that listening to this book. I don't even know you, but I was like, oh my God, I felt the sense of falling in love with you, but really falling in love with myself, if that makes sense. It was like, like the soul of you. And then that was helping me recognize the soul of me. And it was just, my heart was like, oh my God, this is so, so beautiful. And oi, oi, oi. Yeah.
That
Uh,
makes me tear up and also get chills because
oh,
that is what it is. Because we are s we are so much more similar than we are different.
yeah.
And in that real deep place, we are astoundingly similar. I mean,
Yeah.
really. And that's why when we share from that place, people feel less alone. They feel
Yeah.
seen. They feel understood because it's like, oh, wow, it's not just me. Like all the thoughts, all the doubts, all the insecurities, all the not enough stories, all those things, we all share them. And even that realization of like, wow, when we share from this place and when others share from that place, I love them even more.
Yeah.
That even gave me courage to share more exactly who I am.
Yeah.
Because it's like you, and of course, you know, there's the people that are not never gonna love you and or like you or connect with you, and that's okay. But the ones that are ready to hear that level of truth and authenticity are gonna have that feeling of like, oh my God, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's to have that experience is I've received it. So to be able to give it is just
Mm,
beautiful. Yeah.
And I was saying before we started recording, both Amanda and I are basically in our Chiron returns right now, and Chiron returns can be this time of feeling our wounding pretty acutely in a sense, but if we're hopefully, hopefully, hopefully in a conscious, intentional way of holding it and holding ourselves, then we can we can be in that tenderness of our own wounding and that authenticity and that truth, yet in a healthy, I would say, wise way, Chiron being the mentor and the healer, right? And that's what I felt with you, is that it's not that you were just sort of spilling your guts all over the page and saying, poor me, take care of me. That's not what I felt at all. I felt you being so raw and genuine and so honest. But I would say like filled with self-love. I think
Mm,
that's probably the key of what came through for me. And
mm,
which again reverberated to me, right? And then I was able to feel that self-love for myself,
mm,
which was just powerful and healing, and just that, even that level. Like,
mm.
oh, so good. So good. Um, yeah. So, okay. So there are many, 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 many aspects of this book, and I just highly recommend everybody go and read it. But there's this one I would call, to me, the deepest aspect of it that I would love to focus on, because I think it's so relevant to the lives of many people watching, probably. Okay, so the gist is in Amanda's book, in your book, you start out with your childhood being, pretty rosy and, all the things, really happy family life, really happy parents. You checked all the boxes, did all the school, did you were the good girl, like to the nth degree, all the things. Okay. Good Capricorn girl. And you even when then you went to New York and you had a really successful career, had some ups and downs financially and all that, but you were checking all the boxes. I mean, to the nth degree. Success. Okay. But long story short, then your soul, I would say, called you to Hawaii. And you got to Hawaii and whoa. And the way I experienced reading it, but you share with us, it felt to me like suddenly your soul was there. I mean, not that your soul wasn't in New York, but it's like it felt to me like reading the book, it's like suddenly your soul just like cracked you open and went, I am you. You are me. Like there's no more hiding from the full totality of the soul being of you.
Mm.
So yeah, that's where I would love to spend a little more time. Like what was that experience for you? Where does that lead you now? Yeah, anything that comes up.
Well, it you know, when you're writing a book that covers the span of, I mean, I would say the heart of the book is like, you know, 7 years of a period of time, and you're kind of condensing it into a book that is, you know, not going to take you forever to read. It seems like it happens faster, right?
Yeah.
But in the actual experience of it, it felt more like the unveiling and just the unraveling and almost like, you know, when you think about karmic knots or, you know, like it's like the you know, if you have a necklace or something and you're trying to get the knots out, it's like this, you pull on one tendril and then it makes something else tighter and then you pull on another and it loosens it up. And that's more what it felt like. It felt like, the initial leaving New York and taking what felt like a huge, huge leap of faith with, for a Capricorn, not a super solid plan, like what was going to happen after that leap. It it was, that initial call that when I really look back was always there.
Mhm.
From the time I was 10, when I first looked in the mirror and said,
Yeah.
"Who are you? Like, who are you really?" That was my soul then. So we
Mhm.
all, I believe that we all have these varying degrees of unraveling and remembering throughout our lives. It's just that when I was in New York and after the birth of my first daughter, I couldn't ignore it anymore. It felt so strong and so I've said this before and it feels so melodramatic to say it, but it's true that I felt like my soul would die on some level if I didn't listen. And maybe this is an incarnation thing. Maybe this is a 29-degree Capricorn thing. Maybe this is a, like I got to get it right this time because this is it. And so, just feeling that so strong in New York when I had accomplished everything I thought that I wanted, everything I thought that I needed, everything I thought that would lead me towards this feeling of fulfillment and purpose and peace. When I got there and it was like, oh my God, this is the end of that road. This is not what I thought at all. So disillusioned. And so then to make that leap, it really just felt like, okay, I've had that experience and it led me down a road that I'm not super excited about. So let's try something different. And again, it didn't feel like something I could subtly do. Like it felt like I needed to really do it. And is that my Aries South Node? I don't know. Is that just the like, sort of black and white Aries sort of, you know, yes or no sort of
And I've got the
approach,
South Node Aries too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, but it just felt like I needed to do it and I needed to do it for real. I couldn't kind of do it. And so the process of, landing in Hawaii and everything essentially falling apart over a period of 3 to 4 to 5 years where it just unravel, 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 unravel. It God, it was super scary at times. It was very disorienting. It was very just feeling like you're not on any sort of solid footing, any sort of solid ground, and really just having to trust that eventually at some point this is going to work itself out. And of course, that's when astrology came in and really provided that for me. It really gave me that reassurance that even though it looked like a complete disaster, what was happening in my life, it if I decided to enter into a participation with the energies that were happening, that I could absolutely turn it into something really beautiful, something
Mhm.
better than what I had before. Even though what I had before was comfortable, even though what I had before was what everybody else wanted to have, and what I thought was valuable and what I thought made me valuable. So to have that reassurance from the astrological perspective that, and I was, Martha, because you've read the book, I didn't come into this thinking anything about astrology. I
Yeah.
didn't give it any merit. I thought it was kind of unintelligent, honestly,
Mhm.
because I was like, you're trying to tell me everyone born in January is just like me, and it's just like it doesn't make any sense. Of course, I was so ignorant about what it actually is, but
Mhm.
I was very self-righteous in my ignorance. And so to have it come in and it was such a surprise for it to be so helpful and so useful. But, I don't know how it would have been without that. I don't know. Like I really think I might have either ran screaming back to what was comfortable and what was known, or really let that period of time spiral me down.
Uh,
Because there was so many times where that could have happened very easily, where I was holding on to resentment or victimhood or guilt and shame and embarrassment and all the like those emotions that can really just weigh us down like big, huge weights on our ankles. Um,
Mhm.
and there were many times where I had to make a very conscious decision to not let it go that way. To keep doing what I needed to do in order for it to continue to elevate me, which the only words I can think of when I think of what that is alchemy.
Beautiful.
Really, it's just alchemy. It's taking the content of our lives. And I always think of the story of Pele when I think of a archetypal alchemical story
Yeah.
because when she was young, with her fiery red hair and her power and her fire stick, would get jealous and get rageful and get passionate and use her fire stick to start fires all over the place. She would misfire. But it was from that place of emotion, raw emotion that was unfiltered and not mature yet. So she did that. She got cast away. There's lots of story to the adventure, but she got cast away by her mom and her sister because she was dangerous. And so she and her sister end up in this huge epic battle. She dies for 3 days.
Mm.
And when she comes back, she has had an awakening of her heart. And so
Oh.
she can actually use that power and use that fire that she has, but filter it through the heart and use it with wisdom.
Mm, mm,
And
mm,
so that I feel that is the invitation with all of the challenging astrological transits that we go through personally, that we're going through collectively, that it's can we take this material, this raw material, and filter it through the center of our heart and use it with wisdom, like channel it, direct it very intentionally.
mm,
And so that, I mean, it took a long time to get there. It took a long time to get there. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at that at all. And there is an alchemical process available to all of us. And I'm sure many of you have experienced that. You have gone through and you have allowed some of the hardest periods of your life to transform you into a more true, a more powerful, a more wise, a more authentic version of you
mhm,
with less of the overlay.
mhm,
That's what I think of the programming and the all the that commentary that's going on in our heads that is literally, it seems to me, is designed to keep us small and afraid.
mhm. Yeah.
And we have this opportunity to dissolve through that, to let the energy of our own hearts burn away that overlay. I've been thinking about it often, and probably because of Neptune and Aries, but it feels like a fog. It's like a fog that we walk around in a lot of the time where we're just stuck in this mental commentary. And the heart energy and the light that we have within us, it is like the sun burning through the fog.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
so the more we connect in with that, the more capacity we have to burn it away. It doesn't mean we don't experience it ever. It doesn't mean that it doesn't come in, some periods of time feel really foggy. But we do have the power and potential to burn away that fog.
I love it. Yeah, and for people who follow astrology, right? If you read the book and Amanda was very vulnerable and brave to put her own astrology chart in there and all of that. But you'll notice, right, during all this time period that you're talking about, of course, you're having massive Pluto transits and like one after another after another. It's like, oh my goodness. It just went on for years and years. And Yeah, and specifically Pluto in Capricorn. So, right. So it's like I often think of the Pluto transits like the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis, who then becomes the butterfly, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, and you did it though. Like you met it. It wasn't easy to say the slightest. And I was having Pluto transits similar timing-ish because I have similar nodes, right? So the nodes Pluto was squaring my nodes during part of that time also. A little later than you, but and squaring my Venus on my South Node in Aries. So also squaring my Venus. That was interesting. Yeah. So so I know those feelings in my own life. And yeah, and those times can be feel like a dark night of the soul. They for you it was, for me it was. Um but what's on the other side of it for me is the truth of the power of my actual real soul, right? And so I would love, if you feel comfortable, in the book, you describe some really powerful experiences you had once you got to Hawaii in particular that felt to me like your full soul coming online or like you I don't know how to put it, but it's like I feel the Amanda, the human good girl Capricorn Amanda. There's that, which is great and awesome in and of itself. And then there's the like the soul Amanda, which is interwoven with that. But when I feel into you as a soul, it's like, oh, whoa, she has a lot going on in a really amazing way. And she knows a heck of a lot, right? And it's like you allowed at least even a portion of that to come forward in these experiences or something. That was again, I'm not you, so I don't want to speak for you, but that's kind of how I experienced it. And yeah, I'm curious if there's is there any one of those experiences either in the book or not in the book that called to you to talk about or
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think some of the sort of there were a few spontaneous past life regression
Yeah.
experiences that I had, and then one I didn't know I was opting in for a past life regression, but it ended up being that.
Yes.
When you have one of those weird things. So for me, we were at a dinner party and one of our friends was teaching my daughters some Aikido moves. And then he came and they, my daughters, get mommy, let's, so he
Nice.
came up to me and put his hands around my throat.
Yeah.
And I freaked out. I just I fl it was so disproportionate. I mean, obviously he was playing. It was a very playful environment, but it felt threatening to me in that moment. And so this woman walked up to me and said, "Hey, there's something for you there. Do
Yeah.
you want me to help you figure out what that is?" And I was like, "Yes," because I had always been very uncomfortable with anyone or anything touching my neck, and I didn't know why. And so we had this past life regression experience that she facilitated for me, in which I remembered certain aspects of past lives that helped to explain certain hesitancies and fears that I had in this life.
Yeah.
And so one of them, I mean, mainly a lot of these were around allowing myself to be seen, allowing myself to step in and fully own my leadership capacity, for example,
Exactly.
or my spirituality.
Mhm.
Because what I remembered was, I mean, I know so many of us share this, right?
Mhm.
I mean, we really do.
Mhm.
But there was the memory of being dragged onto a stage
Mm, mm.
in front of a jeering crowd, my head getting put into a guillotine,
Yeah.
looking at the crowd and seeing my sisters
Yeah.
there. And my sisters who I had been in the temple with, who I had prayed with,
Oh,
who I had bled with, who I had birthed children with, who I had gathered herbs with. Like I knew we were together in that.
mm.
And my final thought in that lifetime was, they betrayed me.
Yeah.
But then, right after my head was taken off, I got to have that afterlife experience where I was floating above the whole scene. And the only thing I felt, Martha, it was so overwhelming,
Mhm.
was compassion.
Yeah.
I just felt so much compassion. I felt compassion for the crowd that was cheering because I was dead. I felt compassion for the guy who dragged me across the stage. I felt compassion for my sisters because what I knew in that moment was that they were carrying the burden of this and
Mm.
that it only disconnected them more from themselves and from source. And there
Yeah.
was just this, that's all I could feel. And so I don't know, Martha, maybe having some, it's almost like people who have had near-death experiences and they come back with a very different perspective on life because they've had the physical experience of being on the other side. And so when they have that, they're no longer as afraid to live. There's no longer that it's almost like you have this experience of the fact that we have guardrails on us, that
Yeah.
there really is nothing to be afraid of, even though it really is convincing that there is. It's the most convincing illusion ever, right? But so then I had that experience. I had several that like that, where I got to awaken to, oh, okay, so that's where that fear comes from. Or the one where I was a general in
Yeah.
a battlefield
Yeah.
and I was a leader and I knew I was a leader and I looked out and everybody was dead and the only honorable thing to do in that moment was to take my own life,
Yeah.
which I did. And in that life, the final thought was I led them the wrong way.
Oh. Oh.
I used the power of my leadership capacity and I led them the wrong way. This was a losing battle. There was no winner here. And so when I took my life again, I had the grace experience of floating above the whole scene, feeling so much compassion for all the sides. The fact that there were even sides. It was so clear that it was all such an illusion, that we were so blinded in our ignorance in that moment. And all of that suffering was so needless. It just doesn't have to be that way, you know? So, but having the experience of that just again, that also made me realize because I'm a 29-degree Capricorn. So I have always been put in leadership positions, whether I wanted it or not. Like I
Yeah.
remember even in grade school, it would always be Amanda and them. And especially when they didn't like us. Amanda and them. You know, it's like, why me? Like, I didn't choose that. I didn't want that, but it just always happened. So it was interesting to see that, like, there's these patterns I kept being brought into and also resisting, but it was clear through these experiences why I was resisting them
Mm.
so that I could be like Pele and have that moment of realizing, okay, this is part of my design. There's no hiding it. And the more I try to hide it, actually, it comes through distorted.
Mm.
When I'm
Mm.
trying to suppress it, when I'm holding it back, when I'm repressing it, it's still there, but it's just distorted. So if I actually own it, and if I actually own it consciously, and if I actually ask the question, well, if I felt like I led them the wrong way in that life, where do I feel, what can I stand behind to
Yeah.
lead them if I'm going to be a leader?
Yeah. Which you kind of inevitably are.
If
Yeah.
I'm going to, what can I actually stand behind from a soul perspective?
Yes.
Because none of the sides in the human form, for me, that it's not my truth. This side or that side, this right or this wrong, that is not true for me. It's much more eternal than that. It's
Yeah.
much less moving with the fluttering of the ocean. There are truths here that are eternal truths, that are eternal qualities that I'm like, I can get behind those. And I feel clear in my leadership when I'm standing in those. And in my spirituality, it's like, okay, that having that experience too of that witch wound, you know, but having the experience of what happened after the wound also enabled me to go, okay, well, standing in that truth, there really is no real risk. It feels like it. It seems like it. And you could argue, well, you lost your life. Well, did I? I lost that life. But what did I gain in that process? And to me, this is Pluto. Like, Pluto, I have so much love and respect for Pluto at this point in my life because
Mhm.
I just, first of all, we're so in a Plutonian moment as a
Yeah.
collective. I mean, and when I think about what Pluto rules in terms of ruling the underworld
Mhm.
and the under earth and all of the preciousness that is held under the earth,
Yeah.
every jewel, every gem that we
Crystals.
hold valuable, every crystal,
Yeah.
every oil, the thing we fight
Mm,
over on
mm,
top of
mm,
the land, like
mm,
it's all underground. And
mm,
that is so true of us.
mm,
That is
mm.
so true of us. All of the gems,
Yeah.
all of the fuel, all of the valuable treasure
Yeah.
is there. And yes, it does require going into the dark.
Yeah.
It does. And that's why, like, when I think about every fairy tale and, she always goes into that dark wood. She always goes into the forest. And you're always going, oh no, don't go in there. Like, that's scary in there. Because yes, it is. And there she finds her power. There she finds her worth. There she finds her voice.
Oh,
There she finds her purpose and her action. And it is through the trials. She meets all the demons and all the scary monsters in the forest. And so Martha, one summer, it was a couple summers ago, we had an accidental litter of puppies.
oh.
It sounds like a total divergence, but I'll bring it back, I promise.
Mhm, mhm.
We didn't mean to. We were just letting our female dog have as many, I call them moons, even though, have as many heats as she could
Mhm, mhm.
before we fixed her, just to let her develop. And, we messed up the timing. She got pregnant. We
Uh-oh.
ended up having a litter of 10 puppies.
Oh, 10. That's a
10
lot.
puppies. 10 puppies. Anyways, and they were on my lanai, on my porch. They were so cute. Oh
Yeah.
my God. It's just like this, and so much work. I cannot even tell you, it was crazy.
Oh.
But at first they can't see. Their eyes are closed. And I would watch them kind of swarm around each other and kind of fumble over each other and always looking for their mom for the milk, and but they couldn't see, so they would be trying to find her, but like blind, you know and I remember just standing over them with so much like overwhelming adoration and love, and just
Mm.
like they think that they're in danger right now, but they're not. They're so held.
Yeah, exactly.
They're so held. We have this whole thing. They're not going anywhere. But
Mm.
they make their cute little puppy noises, and like they seemed really frantically kind of like, what's going on?
Mhm.
And I had this moment of, oh my God, like that is how God, source, the universe, the planetary beings, they're looking at us like that all the time. The way
That.
that I got to look at those puppies of
Yeah.
just like, oh my God, they're so sweet and they're so cute and they're so lovable and they're so freaked out.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just so blind, but they're held, they're safe, they're okay, you
Mm.
know? So I don't know if that answers your question at all, but
I honestly lost track of my question, but I have a different question.
okay, okay, yes.
But yeah, and just to say about that, what I often say, or when I'm channeling, often what comes through essentially is that we are all, it's like the world is like a child that's been in a nightmare and is waking up from the nightmare, and
Yeah.
we're the child waking up from the nightmare, but we're also here to be the
Yeah.
parent holding the child, right? Both
Total,
and
both
yeah.
and
Hmm.
holding each other, and
Yeah,
it's
all of it.
a lot going on.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes it's way easier said than done,
Yes.
and sometimes, yeah, anyway, yeah.
Yes.
Um, but okay, one thing, okay, I'm off screen looking at your chart because again, your chart is public. Okay, so if it's okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say a
Yes.
little bit. Your current transits are fascinating me regarding leadership in particular because um okay, so you have South Node in Aries. For everybody who follows astrology, listen to my words. For everybody who doesn't so much follow astrology, don't worry about it and just listen for the gist or ignore these words. We'll come back in a second to human language. But okay, so you have South Node in Aries, but that's ruled by your Mars in Leo. Okay. Plus, you have your Saturn at 29 degrees of Leo. And 2 days ago, Julia Balaz and I just did a video on Regulus. You have your Saturn exactly conjunct Regulus. And guess where the South Node is right now? It's conjunct Regulus, about to enter Leo and about to come to your Saturn. Okay. Plus, in addition, like literally today, the day we are recording this, July 13th, 2026, Jupiter is guess where? 2 degrees of Leo on precisely on your Mars. Okay. Plus, plus the transiting Pluto is currently at 4 degrees of Aquarius opposite your Mars. So Pluto already has been going back and forth opposing your Mars, right? So translation, what I'm feeling for the collective so powerfully, as you know, of course, the South Node's about to enter Leo. Jupiter is now in Leo. Mars also is going to eventually enter Leo, and it's going to do a retrograde early next year from Virgo back into Leo. So Leo is getting so highlighted. And for me, that really speaks to this opportunity for us as a collective to be, each of us, each and every one of us, really finding our own inner sacred leadership, right? Our own, like really honestly releasing patterns of out of balance power, out of balance leadership, all the out of balance Leo stuff, but also truly claiming the healthy Leo, the healthy full power that we are, the full leader that we truly, truly are. And so your chart is like bing, bing, bing. That those themes are very alive for you in, I mean, astrologically. So I'm curious, yeah, what are your feelings, your thoughts, your wishes for yourself, for the world, for your own work, just all of us as a collective, like what is that sacred leader energy for you? Yeah, anything
Mm.
you want to speak to on all of that?
Well, I think mm, lots of things. I love the Leo Aquarius axis because
Me
to me,
too.
yes,
Yeah.
because to me it says it all.
Mm.
Stepping into our own authentic, well, back to our hearts
Yeah.
and the place that is authentically you, like only you occupy that space, which to me is the Leo part, right?
Yeah.
Because that place has gifts to offer. That
Yes.
place has something that you are the only one who can possibly contribute it in the way you do it. I don't
And
mean,
we need it. We need
yeah,
all of it. Yeah.
exactly. And I don't mean you're going to do something that no one's ever done before, but you're going to do something no one's ever done in the way that you do it before. And that's the Leo part, right? But not just to do it. The Aquarius part is the thing you came here to give to the whole. And it truly it really feels so obvious to me that this is the divine design.
Yeah.
And that when we do it, this place works.
Mm,
This
mm, mm.
this realm, this dimension works because each one of us is a piece of the puzzle and we're contributing the gift that we came here to contribute in the way we came to contribute it. And and we're burning away that overlay that says that there's no value in that. There's no point of that, that it will never work. You know, all those things. And and instead of and we're just making that commentary obsolete. Like,
Mm.
because that's the thing, where we're at, we can't fight it. Like, I don't think fighting it actually does anything. It actually makes it bigger and it actually gives it more power and it gives it more merit. Whereas
Feels
if we just opt out, if we just go, no, like we're just, I hear you, I see you, I know you're there, I know that you've ruled most of my life,
mm,
but not anymore. Like I'm not going to do that anymore. That to me is a Leo courageous move, right?
beautiful. Mm.
Yeah. And I think also like with all okay. So that to me is like if we could, I think of Hawaii as this archetypal placeholder of paradise,
Aw.
right?
Mm.
It is like people have in their mind that Hawaii is synonymous with paradise. It's not perfect here. And the archetype that most people share about it is that it is paradise. And when I think about astrology and what it is all about, really, in the end, to me, is actually anchoring the celestial realms or heaven or paradise here on earth
Mm,
through our
mm,
bodies.
mm.
And the way that we would do that is by activating the divine design that we've been given
Beautiful.
and then expressing it and living it,
Mhm,
sharing it.
mhm,
So to me, that it's simple and really it's so much permission because it's like actually just be yourself. Like
mhm,
be who you are. Be
mhm,
what brings you joy. Be what lights you up. What lights you up is literally your design fueled with the power of your attention, with the power of your own oxygen and lit up. And when we follow that, it's like it works for you, it works for me, it works for all of us. But again, it doesn't mean it's not, it doesn't mean that there's no challenges. But
mhm,
I just, even the word desire is so illuminating
mm.
because it means day, it's desidere, which means of the stars.
Oh, I did not ever put that.
Hello, like
Oh,
literally in the word desire is in the stars. You want to know what the word disaster means?
with yeah, yeah,
Without the
found it.
stars.
Oh,
Like
so good.
it's like it's there. It's so written for us.
Mm,
And the actual execution of that, I also believe that those who are here right now, those of us who are here, you opted in,
mhm,
you're resourced, you
mhm,
have what it takes, you can do it. And really, it's about us reminding each other of that and supporting each other through that and doing what we can to encourage each other to do that.
yeah. Okay, so I have two remaining questions if you're
Yeah.
okay
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that. Um, just to follow on those. So okay, in my community, and I'm guessing in your community and just around the world, I would from for people I tend to be working with, um, I would say the one of the biggest themes and a theme that honestly breaks my heart every single time I witness it. And I witness it pretty often. And I feel like crying every single time is this sense of I'm not good enough. I can't do it. I'm failing. I'm a failure. Um, so and so, is having XYZ spiritual experience and I'm not, all the things. Okay. So again, I would say my favorite aspect of the whole book and just what I'm hearing from you is again that you had the courage and the persistence, and the trust to really, to keep going despite any and all doubts you were having, any and all, yeah, self-doubting, all of it, right? So for people in that moment, what would you say? What do you want to say to the many, many, many people feeling that way?
First of all, I see you.
Hmm.
And I have absolutely been there.
Hmm.
If you do read the story, the book, you will see that
Yeah.
I felt like a complete and absolute utter failure for
Yeah.
years. And on paper and from the outside, I was.
Hmm.
Like all my many of my like worst nightmares, I was living in them.
Oh.
You know what? Honestly, keep showing up. Just keep showing up.
Hmm.
Keep showing up. See there are gifts around you. There will continue to be gifts around you. There will be continue to be people. There will continue to be conversations like this. Who knows? Maybe this sparked something for you.
Yeah.
Hold on to those. For me, it was the astrology reflecting back to me that through this period of time, it was going to be a marathon, not a sprint. I needed to like gear up for a long time. And that if I continued choosing love, if I continued to show up for myself, if I continued to do the work, whatever the work was requiring of me in any given moment. So if it was forgiveness, show up and do the work around forgiveness. If it was self-love, show up and do the work, like whatever the things were that I needed to work through, continue to show up and do it. And this is where persistence really does pay off.
Hmm.
And believing in yourself.
Yeah.
And believe it's not even believing in yourself, it's believing in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Believing in the fact that you're here and that we cannot argue with the fact that you're here.
Mhm.
So you're here for a reason. There is a purpose behind your existence. And also, so my two birth experiences gave me
Mhm.
such a tangible, so the first one I ended up, I wanted to avoid pain.
Right.
I
Right.
wanted to avoid like it being too messy or complicated. So I opted for a hospital birth. And of course, it did not go according to plan at all. I ended up with an emergency C-section. It was the
Mhm.
beginning of my awakening.
Mhm.
So I had that experience where I gave my power completely away
Wow.
in an effort to avoid discomfort, to avoid pain, to not really take ownership of the experience of birthing a child. That, and I wasn't thinking about it that way. It just seemed like, why would you opt in for pain if you don't have to? Why would you make this more complicated than it has to be? Modern science has made this process better. So I'm just going to outsource my power to them. They will take
Mhm.
care of it.
Mhm.
Didn't go according to plan at all. Ended up being incredibly disempowering,
Yeah.
incredibly crushing for me in my early days as a first-time mother.
Mhm. Mhm.
My second birth experience, I said, okay, I'm going to try something different.
Mhm.
It can't possibly be as bad as that was. Let's just try it another way. And so
Mhm.
I ended up having a home water birth.
Mhm.
I went into labor in ceremony with
Yeah.
my mother, my doula, and my mother-in-law. It
Yeah.
was like the most beautiful, epic experience, transcendent. And I
And
walked, well, go
it's
ahead.
sorry, it's in the book and people should read it. It is an amazing moment. Oh my, yeah, keep going, keep going.
So
Yeah.
I walk away from these two. I'm so grateful to have those two experiences because one came from a place of fear and smallness and not taking ownership of my life. The other
Mhm.
one, which by the way, both of my daughters are epic.
Mhm.
Like sometimes when I tell the story, people are like, "Well, how does your first daughter feel about that?" We have open conversations about this. I call
Mhm.
her my great awakener. I thank her all the time for taking one for the team because she did. And
Oh.
she paved the way for her sister to have this epic birth experience and
Mhm.
for all of us to have a healing through it. Like,
Oh.
I can't even imagine how much in our maternal line got to heal from
Oh.
that experience. So anyways, she's aware and grateful as well. But having those two experiences where one was like, I have to give my power away. I can't handle this. I don't know what I'm doing. I am not resourced. I don't have what it takes. And I'll just make it easy on myself.
Mhm.
Versus, frick, okay, I'm going to face this. I remember talking to the midwife the first time, and I was like, well, what if I feel like I need the epidural? And she's just like, that's not an
Not
option
there.
at home. That's just not going to happen. And if there's an emergency, we will go to the hospital, but let's give your body a chance. Let's
Mhm.
give your body a chance. If you're up for it, I am. She'd done like 200 VBACs.
Mhm. Mhm.
She had done natural birth after cesarean. So she felt confident and I got to borrow her confidence in that moment. And then I got to borrow confidence from the sisters who gathered around me and showered me with love and encouragement. I got to borrow confidence from the movie that I watched, Birth as We Know It, that showed me woman after woman after woman birthing in these like in the snow, in the ocean, and I was just like, what? I had never heard of such a thing. So I got to borrow that confidence. We can do that.
Mm,
We can do that. We can borrow it from each other
mhm.
and we can use it to give us the strength to face the things we're facing in our life right now, which everybody has stuff they're facing. And face it, don't try to shortcut it. Don't try
Yeah.
to bypass it. Don't give the power away to someone else to solve it because they're not going to. Not
Mm,
the way that we can. And even when they, if they do, we don't get the gift of the initiation the way that we could have. We don't get the fullness of the gift of the initiation. So the fullness of the gift of the initiation is by going through it and
yeah.
experiencing it in our bodies and feeling the full spectrum of feelings that come from that, which is like a lot, right? And many of you may be in that place right now where you're feeling grief, you're feeling despair, you're feeling isolation and loneliness and hopelessness, maybe. All those things. Feel them. Let
Mm,
yourself feel them. I remember one of my sisters who I was borrowing inspiration from. It was after the divorce, and they're this single mom with two little girls on an island in the middle of the ocean with barely any friends. We'd moved from the place where I did get surrounded by sisters to a place where I didn't have that yet. It just wasn't in place. And I remember talking to her on the phone and just being like, I feel so lonely. I'm so alone. And she goes, feel it.
oh,
Feel it to the depths of what that feels like. Go into it.
mm,
And I was like, oh, but I don't want to. It doesn't feel good. I hate it. I don't like the way this feels. But that just, even just that suggestion
mm,
of like, I don't have to hold this at bay all the time. Like, it takes so much energy for me to hold this at bay. Like, what happens when I just allow myself to be in it, to feel it?
mhm.
I moved through it a lot faster, I can tell you that.
And like literally that again during this whole time, Pluto is moving through Capricorn over all your Capricorn stuff, and the the tendency, right, in the early part of a Capricorn life could be holding on to the the known and the I can't
Control.
let go and
Yeah.
like this, right? And then you're like not only being stripped of everything in your life that you're used to, but you're literally in labor, like actual literal physical labor where you really have to let go all the way.
Yeah.
Having
Yeah.
birthed a 10.5 pound baby myself.
You know,
Like,
you know. Yes, we can
yeah.
we can draw upon those things. And anyone who has had that birth experience, like how strong and powerful you are now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just there's no like you are capable of a lot. I mean, and we all have experience of that. So again, it's you you are much more powerful than you realize,
Mm, yeah.
And I just think we all need to be reminded of that sometimes.
Yeah. And we're here for each other. That's the big, big thing I think I hear you saying also. Yeah.
For sure. And I know that sisterhood is huge
Oh,
in facilitating major life transformations and initiations. There's something that we hold for each other that I just don't know. I mean, maybe there are some men that can do it, but in my own experience, what we get through sisterhood and holding that for each other
yeah.
is invaluable and irreplaceable.
Hmm. Beautiful. Um, okay. We could talk for many, many hours, I'm sure. I have one last question. It's a gigantic question, but we can maybe give at least the mini answer
Yes.
here. Um, Okay, so now fast forward through the whole book to now, Amanda, now you are now what,
Eight.
49? Eight. I'm 49. You're 48. Okay. And yeah, and so now you're in a much more empowered place. I mean, astrology through the book, Astrology Hub starts, da, 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 and fast forward a bunch of years, Astrology Hub is certainly thriving, doing all kinds of things. Um, and so a two-pronged question, and again, they could both be hours long answers, but I would be really curious, what is your where is your soul calling you now? Right? Because it's kind of like the postlude of the book. Like, where is Amanda's soul calling you now? And going along with that, what is your wish for where astrology is going? Not Astrology Hub, but let me with that too, maybe. But you know, what would you hope we as a collective, those of us who are astrologers or those who are into astrology or those, in the astrology world, what are your dreams and wishes for astrology? And then where's what's the dream of Amanda's soul for you? Gigantic questions, but yeah.
Being on the threshold of my 50th birthday,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
know it's still
Hmm.
a little ways away, but
Yeah.
it's kind of more of the same, Martha, in a way. It's debunking for myself so many of the stories and ideas around aging,
Yes.
around what's possible,
Yes.
around what happens when you reach a certain threshold as a woman,
Yeah.
and really just modeling as much as I can with my own life, vitality and
Mm.
aliveness and purpose and passion and fun, and because it's so sad. The storyline, talk about old. Talk about
No.
I'm not opting in for that. Like
No.
I'm just so to me it's where is the energy calling me? Like what visions and dreams do I have for myself in
Yeah.
my 50th decade? And what do I need to do right now to lay the foundations for that? So I'll make it a little more tangible. For me, I love dancing.
Yes.
I
Mm.
love dancing. I love hula dancing. I love moving my body in a
Mhm.
way that feels aligned with the elements around me, with my feet on the ground,
Mm.
and the music and everything. So I want to keep doing that.
Totally.
So
Mhm.
for me, it's like, okay, if I want to keep doing that, what do I need to be doing to fortify my body now to enable that? Because I feel like one of the things Saturn and Neptune are calling us to
Mhm. Mm.
is we have dreams and we need to be realistic about what is required to live those dreams.
Yeah.
To manifest and form the dream. What is actually required? What does it actually take to be able to dance into your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s? What do you need to be doing every single day so that
Mhm.
you can dance into your 50s? It's really like looking at it from that perspective of consistency and fortification, right, of the system. So there's a project we're going to be doing at the equinox, which is we do these community gatherings with Astrology Hub now at the equinoxes and the solstices, and they're free and everybody's invited. And the one for the equinox coming up is going to be it's a Libra equinox, so it's about balance and beauty and harmonizing. Especially we did an Aries equinox, and it was all about action and initiation and goals and very like directed. So this is more about balancing. So what I'm working on is a series of island inspired dances
Oh.
that are aligned with the elements. So there's going to be a fire dance, an earth dance, a water dance, an air dance, and of course a bonus love dance. And so
Oh.
when you want to invoke or evoke a certain element into your life, you can dance it, you can feel it in
Oh.
your body.
Yes.
Yes. So things like that. Like those kinds of things are really exciting. I have tons of progressed planets in Pisces. I just had my Pisces new
Yes.
moon.
I know. And really pretty much on my own sun. So I'm like, hey, Pisces.
This is new for me though, because Capricorn is not dancing in
Yeah.
your 50. You know what I'm saying? So this is very new, and I'm loving embracing this aspect of what is showing
Totally.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would love to start surfing in my 50s. I've always said I want to surf
Yes.
in my 50s. What does it require to surf in my 50s? Oh, I need to like be in some really amazing shape to do that, right?
Mhm.
A lot of things. There's a lot of things I would love to do and just continue to express and create more opportunities for embodiment. Okay, that's personal. For everybody else, it's kind of the same thing for astrology.
Mhm.
Because what I have seen in my over 10 years of running Astrology Hub is that it is very easy for astrology to become something that is disembodied, for it to
No.
become very
Yeah.
cerebral, for it to become very stuck in the head, and also for it to sometimes become paralyzing and fear-inducing, and all these things that I'm like, no,
No.
please, no, like that is for me, that is just not the point at all, right?
No.
So for astrology, I will love to see, and I know this is the direction it's going, more like we tune into it to get the surf report, to get the
Mhm.
weather report, to understand the energetic currents, and we decide how to surf with it. We
Mhm.
decide if we're going to longboard or shortboard. We decide if we're going to boogie board or body surf. We decide. We are consciously participating in and with the energies. We are also very aware that they are also impacted by us. It is
Yes.
not a one-way monologue.
Thank
This
you for saying that. Yes.
this is
It's so true.
dialogue. We are here rewriting stories.
Yes.
I mean, even Juno.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
that story in the book because I
Mm.
realized I was playing out a very old archetypal story of the feminine in
Yes.
which I am holding resentment towards the feminine, but I've long forgiven the masculine. And I went, I hate that story sucks.
No.
I'm using this word a lot, but I'm opting out. I'm going to create a new story.
Yeah.
What would be required of me to, if I'm Juno in this story right now, what would Juno need to do something different than what she's been doing?
Beautiful. Yeah.
Well, she would need to cross the divide.
Oh.
Someone's got to cross the divide. She
Mm-mm.
would need to be the one to see the gap between her and the other woman, and she would need to be the one to say, you know what? I forgive you, and I'm
Oh.
sorry in the role that I played. I am not a victim to you. You are not the victim to me. We have played together in this, and I'm sorry, and I forgive you. And so like those stories are ready for a lot of conscious participation from us.
Mhm. Yeah.
There are, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like this is the, even through COVID in 2020, I was in dialogue with Saturn,
Yeah.
just being like, like, what's going on? And what do I need to see here? And it
Mhm.
was very clear. Saturn was like, I am here to teach you about fear, not to create fear for you to be stuck in. I'm teaching you about it. I want you to feel it. I want you to see what happens when we're run by it. I want you to see and experience how it divides you, how it paralyzes you, how it infiltrates your entire system, your physical system as a human individual, also the entire system collectively. And then what it does, it separates us, it isolates us, it makes us fear each other, all these things. It was like not for you to stay stuck there, for you to experience it and for you to understand how fear operates. And then you
Yeah.
become more aware of it operating in your own life.
Mhm.
And you can make new choices once you have that awareness. So that to me is when astrology becomes the thing that enables more empowered decision making, more conscious participation, more authentic expression.
Mm.
Those things, that to me, if that's where astrology, well, I will do whatever I can to
Yeah.
keep facilitating opportunities for that. And then we all get to choose how we want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, yeah, I cheer on all of that. And yeah, in my own work, I would say the top thing I do in my astrology courses and things, I channel for people to actually travel to be with the planets and become the planets and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So I love it. That's the thing. That's probably the most important thing for me is that we cannot. I feel like we're actually perpetuating harm when we
Yes.
treat these are alive beings, right? If we're alive, if the earth is alive, if a tree is alive, how is Mars not alive? Like I don't know how that's possible.
Right.
And yeah, and to really engage, remember the aliveness of everything. It's
Yes.
not just us.
Yes.
Right? And yeah.
You know, the Hawaiians didn't write, their language wasn't written. And the reason why, at least this is what a Hawaiian kahuna that I studied with on the Big Island, what she
Mm.
taught me was
Mm.
the reason why was because it freezes the words
Yes.
and it petrifies them, and
Yeah.
then it becomes dogma.
Oh,
This happens with astrology all the time.
yeah,
Think
absolutely.
of all the words that have been frozen in a book or in any sort of thing, and now this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
This means this, you have blah blah, and that means you're going to
right,
like, no,
exactly, right. So,
stop.
yes, exactly what you're saying. Just keeping it alive and being alive with it
Ugh.
enables it to continue to evolve and transform um, and serve us, not imprison us.
Right. And return us back to really actually, like I was saying before you started recording, I would say a healthy Capricorn energy, which is us as Earth, as cosmos, as ancientness embodied, right? The wisdom that we actually are in a movable way, not a stuck, frozen way. But but yeah, yeah, in the rhythms of actual real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing,
This has
Amanda.
been so fun, Martha. Thank you.
Thank
I feel like I have a new sister.
Yeah, oh, I know, same. So good. Oh, yeah, yeah, amazing. Yeah, and a whole other topic that maybe we can talk about another time, but that came up in the book, and then I'm hearing you touching on here. I feel like you would have so much wisdom. You do have so much wisdom. Um, in the whole experiencing of ourselves as the divine feminine and the fullness of her, right? And the landing in the mature embodiment of her. So that's another topic people can go and read the book. But you talk a lot about your body image issues, and I'm like, what? She of all people, you doubt it? What? That doesn't even make any sense. Like,
This is what I'm telling you. We have an auto script. You think it's you. You think,
makes no sense.
come on. It makes no sense. None of it makes sense. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, that's another thread we won't do today, but
Yes.
um, that could be a whole conversation we could have another time. And but yeah, people come read the book. It's so inspiring on that level as well. And just again, help me just soothe my own stuff around femininity and
Yeah.
body and the things, all the things, getting older and all
Yeah.
of it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We have such an awesome opportunity, Martha. I feel like
Yes.
we're in the forefront of a generation, but actually there's women who've come before us that have already
Yes.
done this for us too. There
Yes.
are already so many amazing elder women just redefining, just busting through the old perceptions. And there's such an
Yeah.
inspiration to me. I follow so many of them on Instagram, and I'm like,
Oh,
yes, you're amazing. Like, keep
yeah.
going. And you don't realize that you're inspiring this whole next generation of women who then will get to inspire the next generation of women.
Right.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, in my community, the vast majority of people in my community are women who are 65 and older. So I learned so much from
Yeah.
all of you
Totally.
embodying I mean, it's like, oh, so good.
Same.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I was talking to Heather Ensworth the other day, and I was like we don't have we need models of the embodied true full divine feminine. Like, thank you for being that. Thank you, Pam Gregory, another one for me. Thank
Right.
you for being
Totally.
that.
Yes.
Oy, oy, oy.
Thank you for
um
being that. Yep.
yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you for being that too. And yeah, it's what we got to show up and do it, like all of us together again,
Right.
together. Yeah.
Exactly. And that doesn't mean perfection. It's like
No.
that would just be putting ourselves in another little
No.
stupid box. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fun,
absolutely.
Martha. Thank you.
All right. Well, okay. So on the practical level, okay,
Yes.
the book, the book, Life by the Stars, it is on Amazon, etc. But you have an entire website dedicated just to the book and to a whole set of experiences you've actually created. Yeah, do you want to
Oh
talk
my gosh.
about
Thank
that?
you so much because this has been so much fun for me. So we did a living by the stars experience, like an immersive book club, essentially.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's funny because I've never really been to a book club. And so what I learned is that what we did was definitely not a typical book club. It was way more experiential,
Mm.
way more uh, transformative. So essentially, we took 4 weeks and we went through each part of the book, and I just took a few themes from each of the parts of the book, and we did practices around them. We did lots of sharing around them. We did lots of different exercises and things. Like I took some of the exercises from the book and I led people in them. It was so beautiful. Talk about being inspired by all the different generations in this group.
Mm.
I was like, oh my God. But so I'm going to do another one in
Yes.
September. So if you do go to lifebythestars.com
Mhm.
and you buy the book directly from us,
Yeah.
I will know who you are. If you go to Audible, I mean, Audible or Amazon, you will buy it through them. I won't know who you are. So I won't be able to tell you when some of these things are happening. So if if any of this sounds fun and you want to stay in touch, I do recommend going to lifebythestars.com. We have the best pricing for the book there. We have free shipping in the US. I think we're still doing free shipping internationally as well until that just makes no sense. Books are signed. You're going to get a companion journal also and a bookmark. If you're an audio person, you can get the audio directly from us too,
Mm.
or the ebook.
Which I highly recommend. I because you read it, and so it's
Yes.
your voice. I loved it. Yes. Yes. Yes.
That was such an amazing experience. That actually made me think of why the Hawaiians use the voice to pass down story because there's something else that gets transmitted with the voice that just can't be transmitted with the page in the same way, right? So,
Mhm.
yes, all that's available at lifebythestars.com. If you just love the convenience of Amazon and all that, I get that too. It's available there. Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Any last thing you want to say?
I'm just grateful. I feel like we're in such an epic time in human history and in our lifetimes to be witnessing such opportunity for transformation. And I'm just grateful that there's people like you, Martha, who are facilitating these conversations and creating community around it and bringing people together. It feels so important. And I'm sure it brings you a lot of joy too. And I know it's a lot of work, but I'm just grateful and just for the opportunity to connect with your people, your community here.
Awesome. Thank you. And just, yeah, thank you for showing up and saying yes to your soul purpose. That's what I'm feeling more than anything, just like bursting through you. It's like, oh, I mean, what else is there? Like, really, what else is there?
I feel the same way. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? What else are we doing? That's yeah.
Yeah.
It's it, it is the thing that will in the end bring us the most joy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the most peace and the most fulfillment. It does not mean everything is easy, but
No.
it there is that sense underneath everything of I'm on my path.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I came here to do.
Yeah. For me, it's being a mom, number one. And then
Yeah,
number two,
exactly.
this. And that's kind of, that's it. That's it.
Totally. I
Yeah.
hear you. Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. I wish I could give you a big hug.
No, you too.
And thank you, everybody tuning in. I have a guess you're feeling what, okay, what I'll say what I'm feeling, feeling so touched and chills through my whole body and just like I could cry. And yeah. So anyway, whatever it is you're feeling, anything you want to share with us, we would love to hear it, of course. And yeah, let us know what came alive. What is this touching you? What are you curious about? All the things. Um, Thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you soon.